Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I'm here to do my December and Christmas book haul. So before I get into that, I just want to apologize in advance if you can hear some kind of ambient noises. I have to have the windows open and the fan on because it is randomly just really hot here. Just love those random heat waves in the winter. So I'm sorry if you can hear things going on in the background. I always have captions on my videos, so feel free to turn those on. I also want to give a quick shout out because these earrings are also from Annalisa. I will link her shop and channel down below. I have loved everything that I've gotten from her, and I just wanted to mention that really quick. And yeah, this is going to be the books that I got for December or for Christmas. I got some things from some lovely booktube friends and from my family, and I'm just very excited to talk about the books and the bookish items that I got. So I'm going to start with the two books that were not for Christmas, and the first one I actually wanted to give away, and that is Rules for Being a Girl by Candace Bushnell and Katie Cotugno. This is a hard-hitting contemporary book that I believe deals with like predatory behavior towards girls and how that relates to things like rape culture and the obsession with dress code and all of that. I feel like it's going to be a really great novel, and I actually won this in a giveaway from the author Gabriella Martins to celebrate her book coming out this year. Actually, I'm filming this in 2021, which is called Like a Love Song, and I'm very excited about it. It's definitely on my most anticipated releases list, and I was really excited to win this in a giveaway, so I'm looking forward to getting to that. And then the other book before we get into the Christmas presents is A Touch of Power by Maria V. Snyder. I received this as a present from my friend Huck from Badger Reads. I have really enjoyed the first book in the Poison Study series, which I read from Maria V. Snyder and really enjoyed, and this is a series I've been wanting to get to for a while, and it has to do with healing magic. And I think our main character, she can actually heal people by like taking their illness or injury into herself, and that is, I think that is like forbidden in this world, or like if you have that power then you're hunted, so she's trying to keep that secret, and I feel like this sounds like a really great series, so thank you Huck. I'm really excited to get to this. Now into the Christmas presents that I got from BookTube friends, and I think I'm going to end with the things that I got from my family. So in no particular order, I have A Properly Unhaunted Place by William Alexander. I received this from my friend Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophes. By the way, everybody I mentioned will be linked in the description box as always. So this is a middle grade novel where I think it's like sort of an alternate reality where every city has ghosts, and our main character is Rosa Diaz, and she comes from a family of librarians who specialize in ghost appeasement, and her mother ends up moving them to this town called Ingot, which is I think the only town in the world or maybe in the country that does not have ghosts, so she doesn't understand what they're supposed to do there because they can't do their job. And then our other character is Jasper, and I think so he has always lived in Ingot, and there's like some kind of evil or malicious ghost that wakes up, and he and Rosa have to, I think, take that ghost down or defeat them or like placate them in some way. And this just sounds like a really lovely middle grade with a little bit of spookiness, and it sounds like there will be a focus on friendship as well. So thank you so much, Olivia Savannah. Really excited to get to this one. Then for my friend Bendy from Caught Between Pages, I got As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of the Princess Bride by Carrie Ells with Joe Layden, foreword by Rob Reiner. I, like many people, absolutely adore the Princess Bride movie, and I'm so excited to read this. I've heard like really good things. I think my friend Kelly actually read this book and really enjoyed it previously. So yeah, I can't wait to learn more about the movie and just like behind the scenes stories and everything. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to getting to this. I really love Carrie Ells, despite the fact that I'm never quite sure if I'm saying his name properly, his last name, but I am so excited to get to this. Again, just love the movie, and I feel like this will be a really lovely kind of combination memoir and behind the scenes of a movie that I love, so I just feel like this will be really lovely. Then from my friend Taylor from Page Screen Taylor, I got Look Both Ways by Jason Reynolds. I obviously love Jason Reynolds. I have loved every single thing I've read from him, and this is one of the last books that I have not read from him, and I'm really excited. I actually heard about this one from Ashley at Bookish Realm, and I knew that I wanted to read it, and I think this is, it's like a series of stories about different kids who all, I think, walk to school on the same block, and it's how those stories like intertwine. It sounds like a really interesting premise, and like I said, I have loved every single thing Jason Reynolds has written that I've read, so I'm confident I will love this one as well. So thank you, Taylor. This is obviously one of my favorite authors, so it's always exciting to get a new book from your favorite author, and like I've been saying with all of these, I can't wait to get to this. I'm sure that is getting very repetitive, but honestly I'm just so excited about all of these. Then from my friend Julia at Shakespeare and Such, I got A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Coletti. Sorry, the note almost fell out there. This is a really hard-hitting contemporary that I have heard nothing but incredible things about, and Julie and I do plan to buddy read this at some point, and yeah, I feel like this is going to be a very intense book, so I don't want to say like I'm excited for it, but I feel like it's going to be a really good and important experience, if that makes sense. I don't know. We need a new word for books that you're not expecting to be like fun, but you're looking forward to getting to them, like something besides enjoy or excited. But thank you so much, Julia. I'm really excited to buddy read this with you, and I'm sure this book will be very important and well written, and yeah, I've just heard like incredible things about this one. Then for my friend Hannah from Snow White Reader, she gave me Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, which is a Hercule Poirot mystery, and I have recently started getting into Agatha Christie and like am really enjoying her writing so far, which is like not a newsflash. She's one of the most, I think she's like the best-selling author in the world, or one of them or something. So I'm pretty late to the party here, but I'm so excited about this one, especially because I actually really loved the Kenneth Branagh movie, The Murder on the Orient Express. I know a lot of people hated it. I actually really enjoyed it, and the next one that they're doing is an adaptation of Death on the Nile, and I was planning to read that before I watched the movie whenever that comes out. So now I own it, and I'm really excited, and I'm also really looking forward to seeing Egypt as a setting. I think that will be really cool, so thank you so much, Hannah. And Hannah also gave me this beautiful art piece that she painted herself, and it says "completely, perfectly, and incandescently happy," which is a quote from Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. So I love this. I'm already like figuring out where I'm going to put it, like where I'm going to hang it. So thank you for this, Hannah, as well. I am just like so in awe of people who can do like visually artistic things, because that is not in my skill set. Then my friend Mary Margaret sent me Artemisia Gentileschi and Feminism in Early Modern Europe by Mary D. Garrard. This is not the first Artemisia Gentileschi book that you will see in this haul, because I have a brand and my friends know me very well. So this is a nonfiction book, I think pretty much about what it says in the title. So how Artemisia Gentileschi and her work and her story fit into feminism and also into the history of early modern Europe. And it also includes some paintings of hers and analysis, and this just makes my heart very happy. I'm really excited to get to this. And like I said, you will be seeing other books about Artemisia Gentileschi in this haul. Then my friend Katie from A Sea of Tomes actually gave me a few different books. The first one is The Night Gardener by Jonathan Auxier, and this is a kind of spooky middle grade that I think it sounds a little bit like The Secret Garden, which is obviously one of my favorite books, and I don't want to like get my hopes up too much, because like obviously that's a book I love, so that's a pretty high bar. But I'm really excited about this. It sounds quite creepy, but like middle grade creepy, which I enjoy and can handle. It's about two abandoned Irish siblings who travel to work as servants at a creepy, crumbling English manor house. But the house and its inhabitants are not quite what they seem. Soon the children are confronted by a mysterious stranger and by an ancient curse that threatens their very lives. So I think this is going to have some magic, some creepiness, and also a mysterious setting that combines a creepy manor house and a garden. So yeah, I am really excited about that. She also got me Between the Sea and Stars by Chantal Gadouri. This is the book one in the Lena series, and this is a series about mermaids, and I've been really wanting to try this author for a while. I believe she's an indie published fantasy author, and I've heard really good things about her books, and I really enjoy mermaid books, but I feel like there's not a lot of great ones, although I have read a few that I've really enjoyed, so I'm always excited to try a new one that I think I will really love. So thank you for that, Katie, as well. And then the last book Katie sent me is Between Worlds, Folktales of Britain and Ireland by Kevin Crossley Holland, illustrated by Frances Castle. And this is just an absolutely stunning book, and like you guys know, I am a paperback fan over hardcovers, but this hardcover is absolutely beautiful. And the end papers are really lovely as well. Like, this is just such a beautiful book. I really love reading folk tales, and I am so excited to read more from Britain and Ireland, so thank you so much, Katie, for all of these books that you sent me. And then my friend Yvette from Book Cave sent me several things as well. The first one is another of those Artemisia books I mentioned, and this is The Artemisia Files, Artemisia Gentileschi for Feminists and Other Thinking People, edited by Mike Ball. This is a collection of essays by various writers about Artemisia and how she relates to feminism, or like looking at her and her work through a feminist lens, which I am very excited about. Like I said, people know me very well. I have a brand and I am okay with that. And I just think this looks absolutely wonderful. Most of these writers I have not heard of before, or I have not read their work before. There's a couple that I recognize. But yeah, looking forward to see if maybe I find some new nonfiction writers to really enjoy. And this just sounds like something so up my alley. And then she also sent me this really cool enamel pin from the Star Touched collection by Meredith Staton. It's a picture of Erebos from the Dragon Prince show, and it says, "How may I serve you?" under it. He's such a great character, such a great villain. I obviously love Dragon Prince. Yvette and I hosted the kind of mini-thon that we did for Dragon Prince, and I am so excited that they have officially renewed the series for the entire, is it like 7 seasons or like 9 seasons, like the whole arc that the writers and creators had planned, so that even though production obviously can't really happen right now, it makes me feel very good and very content to know that we are going to get the full story at some point. So thank you, Yvette. We both love that show. And she also gave me, I have to be careful because I'm actually using this right now, this really, really beautiful mug that is Uncle Iroh themed. Let me see if I can show you that little tag there. And it has vines on it, and it also has the words to Little Soldier Boy on it. Iroh, obviously from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is an absolutely wonderful show. Like, I know everyone says that, but it's really true. It lives up to all of the hype. I love that show, and Uncle Iroh is just one of the best characters to ever exist. So thank you so much, Yvette. I love these. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the bookish things that I got from my family. And the first one is not exactly bookish, but I think, I don't know, I wanted to talk about it in this haul, and it's like relevant to other interests that I have and that other people I think who watch my channel have. And I got this purple sweatshirt that is Six the Musical themed. So it's purple, and then on it it says Aragon and Boleyn and Seymour and Cleves and Howard and Parr, which are of course the last names of the 6 wives of Henry VIII, because I, like many people in the world, am a little bit obsessed with Six the Musical. I have actually worn this sweatshirt in a few videos already, but I don't think I've like specifically pointed out the design on it. But I love that. And then I also got this really nice new box set of the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis, because my old one is very much falling apart. And this is with the original illustrations by Pauline Baynes, but it's actually in color illustrations, which I think is really cool. So I will show these covers to you. So in order, starting with book 1, we have The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle, all by C.S. Lewis. And I actually don't plan to reread The Last Battle. My friend Olivia Savannah, actually, she's done some videos recently talking about the racism in this book in particular, and I just have no interest in returning to that. But I do look forward to revisiting the other books in the series. And I actually, I guess is a controversial opinion, I actually don't have a problem with the way that the female characters in this series are represented, and I'm including Susan in that. I have a lot of like feelings and opinions on that. Like, I definitely understand why people don't like the way that some of the female characters are portrayed, but anyway, I have like a lot of thoughts and feelings about like why, for me, this has never read like a series with bad female representation. I actually think it does really well with the female characters, but I could do like a whole video essay on that, which I'm not going to do. Maybe I will talk about it a little more when I reread some of the books. Like, honestly, I have read modern books like by modern authors who write women more badly than C.S. Lewis did in like, what was it, like the 50s whenever he was writing those. So for what it's worth, I feel like the female characters in this series are done really well, but like I said, I know other people disagree on that. And then on to the other books I got from my family. So I got this really beautiful edition of Shakespeare's sonnets. I think this is the Evergreen or Alma Classics, something like that, which I really, really love this cover. And I have not read Shakespeare sonnets, I think, since college, like when I was working on some of them for like a project or an essay or something. And obviously I love Shakespeare and I really want to read his sonnets again, like actually read through all of them at some point. I think it was actually Olivia Savannah who like kind of sparked my re-interest in this, because I think she recently read his sonnets, and just flipping through, I already feel like I'm going to love these and appreciate them so much more now that I'm reading them on my own time and not like with a particular assignment in mind. So I am really excited about that. I also have A Traveler in Time by Alison Utley. So I actually heard about this book because I follow Anne Theriot on Twitter, and she's like just really fun, really interesting historian, and she writes a lot of really great pieces on like women in history and everything. And she talked about this as, I think, one of her favorite or formative books growing up, and I think it involves a group of kids, like a family, who end up transported back in time to the time of Mary, Queen of Scots. And it's funny because sci-fi, I don't really love time travel, but when it's like a historical fiction type thing, I can really love that. So I'm really excited about this. And then I also got Game of Queens, The Women Who Made 16th Century Europe by Sarah Gristwood. So this is a nonfiction book about this particular period, obviously 16th century Europe, and how at this time there were a lot of women in power, and kind of, I think it's just like about these different women and what they did, and like a lot of them were obviously not necessarily great people or people you should admire or emulate, but I'm just really excited to like learn more about them and like what they did in this time period, and how they really shaped a lot of like European history in that era, which is not something I feel like we talk a lot about, so I'm excited to get to that as well. You'll notice a theme here, lots of nonfiction about interesting historical women. And then I also have Abigail Adams by Woody Holton, and this is a biography about her, and I have really been wanting to learn more about her for a while. She just seems like such an interesting person. I mean, she's got those famous quotations like, "Remember the ladies." I think in a lot of ways she was very ahead of her time in terms of social issues, so I'm really excited about this. And this is so funny, but this book and several others in this stack, basically like the family books my mom picked out, like most of the books that I get from family for like presents for Christmas or birthday or anything, they're generally from my mom or are picked out by my mom. Like many families, we have always teased my mom about her like mom powers or like her superpowers, like her ability to, without you even saying something, to know exactly the right thing that you need or like to get you something. And that's pretty much what happened here, because several months ago I had actually added this book to my Goodreads TBR, had not mentioned it to anyone, including her, and this just happened to be the Abigail Adams biography that she gave me, like the one out of many that I had actually added to my Goodreads list because I thought it sounded really good. So I just thought that was really funny and kind of perfect, and I'm really excited to get to this one, as with all of these books. And I also got The Myth of Bloody Mary by Linda Porter, a biography of Queen Mary I of England. So this is another nonfiction that is obviously about Queen Mary, known as Bloody Mary. So I think this book's going to look at Queen Mary's life and like the things that she did, and like I don't think it's going to like sugarcoat what she did, because she did do some horrible things. But I think one of the main things this book is going to focus on too is the fact that like when you put Mary up against other historical figures of that time, she actually was not any worse than the majority of them, but we have this image of her as like the Bloody Queen or Bloody Mary, and kind of like why that was. So I just think that sounds super interesting. Say it with me, I'm very excited to get to that. And then the last book I have to talk about is the last Artemisia book in this haul, and that is Artemisia, and this is it's kind of a combination program and exhibition book and also like nonfiction book, and it's from the gallery in London, and this one is also from my mom. And obviously with COVID and everything, there will be no traveling anywhere for the foreseeable future, but London currently has an exhibition on Artemisia Gentileschi's work, and it's the first time that has ever happened. And like I hadn't even officially been planning to go, because obviously it's a very long trip to go to London for, especially for like just a gallery exhibition, but what with the pandemic, that was something that was like definitely not a possibility for the foreseeable future. And so I don't know if my mom knew that I had specifically like thought about the possibility of going, or if she just knew that this is something I would have loved to be able to see. But either way, she found out that you could order a copy of this like exhibition book like from the gallery in the UK. I mean, like just the beautiful, I'm not sure if I'll even be able to show these on camera because the book is like massive. But like even on the cover, you can see how beautiful this is. Like obviously I love Artemisia. I love her art. Like I think that her place in art history is so important. Let's see if I can show more. Like just absolutely gorgeous. Let's see if I can find one of her Judith Slang Holofernes paintings. Here we go. So these are, of course, some of the things that she is best known for. But yeah, I am so excited to add this book to my Artemisia Gentileschi collection. So those are all of the books and kind of bookish or fandom items that I got for Christmas or just during December. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much to my lovely friends who sent me gifts, and thank you to all of you who watch my videos, who comment, who interact with me. It's like I said in my reflection book tag, I truly do appreciate that so much. I'm sure this video is going up long after Christmas is over, but I hope that if you celebrate that you had a really wonderful holiday, or if you don't, I hope that you just had a really good end of December, even though I'm sure it looked very different than it normally does, and I hope that you guys are all doing well and staying healthy. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!